Hi, guys. Welcome to Out With It. And today I have a very special guest, someone who's not just artistic, but also has drawn so much inspiration from Jaipur's culture. Somebody who has impacted so many women in Rajasthan. Here we have Tanya Sethia. So, how are you doing?
All well, how are you?
Good, good.
It's really nice to catch up with you and especially being in front of the camera for once.
Yeah.
Because I've always been like very used to be behind the camera and capture everything. So it's good that I have like platform with you to talk about things.
I'm so glad to be having this conversation.
Same here.
The podcast has been in pipeline for the past 2-3 months, and now finally that I'm in Jaipur, I genuinely wanted to highlight stories of women from Jaipur. So I'm so happy to be doing this.
Yeah.
I actually did have a question about that. Did you always know that you wanted to start Gul, or was it that you came back from Milan, took a little while, and then came up with the concept? Because, at this point in time, not just me, but like a lot of people who are in uni, year 3 or 4, it's like a constant battle of what they really want to do. So is it like you always knew and then you just came back, started it, or did it take some time?
I would say you never really know. Like, you're at it. You're literally going to be living your dreams and something that you've always thought of. Like, how these days manifestations and people saying that you should know what you want and then you manifest this in your life. I feel like, this is all, again, another term that is very trending these days is delusion.
I agree.
We're all just living a big delusion that,
Yeah.
this is what we like and this is what we want to do.
Yeah.
Because you can never know, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
I think you can never know. At
Yeah.
least for me, I feel like I do whatever I feel like doing. And then even if I plan a lot, sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't. So I don't believe in planning a lot anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say it in a very spiritual sense.
Yeah.
Like I'm acting like a 25-year-old. I just turned 25-year-old, so I
Yeah.
think that spiritual sense is coming into me now. But I feel like this life is only given to to go out and experience things that really shapes us.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
like when I was in college, I was really sure that because obviously you see yourself, you kind of go through your journey and you feel like, designing something that is a good call for me.
Yeah.
And then in school, suddenly you're in 11th standard or whatever and teachers are like, decide your stream, like decide what you want to do in life.
Yeah.
And by that time, like till you reached your stage where you
Yeah.
have to decide, you've gone through like 20 ideas, like 20
Yeah.
streams, everything. And some people have their interest in every single thing. How do you decide?
I agree.
Yeah.
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 I don't think there's any clear path to deciding what's perfect. And also, as they say, I think best is the enemy of good.
Yeah.
I think you should settle for what you want to do and
Yeah.
something that you genuinely think is not going to be too much work.
Yeah.
It's like you're happy doing what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, end of it,
Yeah.
you just have to go by your heart.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
If you're gonna start using your brain, like, okay, this is something that is right for me, this is something like that. I mean, that is good. But end of
Yeah.
it, it's all by heart.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
like in the designing stream, you have to listen to your heart. And
For
that's
sure.
what led me to Milan. So I was in Bombay. A
Okay.
little bit about myself.
Yeah.
I was in Bombay and I was pursuing fashion designing. And then my third year I went to Milan, where I studied like in detail about luxury fashion, which really intrigued me. Like, it's not about, the fancy stuff, like the fancy luxury life you see. It's actually how like a brand portrays itself into a luxury market, into a luxury product. It's all about the brand building that they do. One big learning I got was like, this is something that back in India, like the artisans, they work on.
Yeah.
And then the brand takes it, and obviously the designing part is very important. That's the expertise of the luxury brands and how they portray it, how they make a little world of the luxury market and that people really want to go inside.
I completely
They
agree.
want to be a part of.
I feel like with luxury, it's not even about the product as much as it about the appeal.
Yeah,
like
appeal.
it's like how they've put the narrative out there,
Yeah.
how they have marketed their product, what associates with the product, the emotion. I think
the
mostly.
emotions, yeah.
Actually, recently I was talking to one of my friends who's also into design, and we were reviewing Gul as a company because obviously for the podcast. But we were looking at it and she told me something very interesting about your company's narrative. She was like, it's raw, but it's also very professional at the same time, which I think a lot of companies are not able to achieve because at the end of the day, these are very handicrafty products which are available in Rajasthan like any company can go and be like, okay, these are the artisans, let's do this.
Yeah.
But why would somebody want Gul is because of the narrative you've put out there,
Right.
the branding, the way it's packaged, everything. I think Gul itself is a very huge brand in Rajasthan, at least. So how have you managed to achieve that?
Honestly, my aim didn't start of making a brand.
Yeah.
Or like, I want like these fancy things or this kind of portrayal. It was basic. Like I came back from Milan. Luckily, I had been exposed with the rural world of India, which is so intrigued and like so captivating. Like I was totally captivated by the rich culture, the patterns, the lifestyle they have, and it's so simple.
Yeah, yeah.
And in this fast, busy life, everyone kind of is reconnecting back to those basic kind of things.
Very true. Yeah.
It's just what your calling is, and that this is through this, like not right now, not in 5 years, in 10 years, and everything. I see an impact happening,
For sure.
and the impact that I'm talking about is like huge scale. Like
Exactly.
I'm actually helping someone's life, and for Gul, it was like a win-win situation because I was helping my women artisans to provide them a better life, and then obviously in gifting, people have it as a necessity that they how would you express emotions?
Yeah.
You want a token or something, right?
Of course, yeah. And
Yeah.
especially in Indian culture,
Yeah.
gifting is a huge segment.
Right. And
yeah.
we Indians are so emotional.
Yeah.
Like, just like, if why we do such grand weddings, like the Ambanis.
yeah.
I mean, it was grand. They have the money for sure. They
Yeah.
can do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
But like the thought, like how I'm like literally obsessed with Neeta Mani. The thought she puts in each and every detail
Everything.
thing.
Yeah.
Like from like how she enhances the Indian culture.
Yeah.
She promotes a lot of Indian art and craft, and then also very sustainability. It's such a good.
I think it's a very good balance. She's actually put India, I think, on a global scale. Like she's
Right.
put out the culture perfectly.
Yeah, and you see her correlating
Yeah,
also.
you do.
Like it's not just for the sake of it. Like like I'm gonna put some shade. Like an outside brand like H&M, Zara, they come to India.
Yeah.
They source everything from India, like the artisans and everything. But it's just they're not highlighting the culture of it. Even if they are, they're not able to relate to it.
I mean, I think H&M and Zara, they just need cheap labor,
Yeah.
which is probably controversial again. But I think it's just they use it for production and there's no name attached to anything. Like
Yeah.
it's not just India, I think even Vietnam and Myanmar and all of
Bangladesh.
that. They're used for like those type of things.
Yeah.
But highlighting local artisans and bringing it on a larger scale is very important.
Right.
At least
and the
in this
thinking
day
also
and
if
age.
someone's coming from the same base, like from
Yeah.
India or like how we are in Jaipur. Even I'm so happy to find other brands who are promoting Jaipur the way it
Yeah.
should. Like not just like the name of block print or name of like some other handicraft. They want to put Jaipur on a global map. So Jaipur as a city was very supportive in my journey.
Yeah, I'm sure. But other than Jaipur, which states do you think you would want to expand, especially when you talk about your skill centers, which I would also want you to talk about a little bit?
So I will tell you about a model. We started with Rajasthan, and I would say that we are very well captivated Rajasthan, even though there are like 100 things. Like there's so much talent. I can't tell you like in terms of handicrafts and everything. And we are the most excited because we're not just taking that handicraft and like putting it on a global. We kind of designed it. Like I took my time for a year or 2 years, and luckily I've like found the right kind of designing team. My
Yeah.
team, like my people who relates to the vision that I have, that we wanna not just put something that is already there to the market. We want to contemporize it, put a fresher look on it. So the market, because end of it, it's the audience and the market that you're selling to. So they
Yep.
should also correlate. And they also feel happy, They've always seen like how, for example, we work with a lot of handcrafts like weaving, stitching, knitting. Like knitting is something that every single one of us, I'm sure, has seen it at the house. Their women, like their mother, their grandmother
yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even I used to knit. Even I know how to
Oh,
knit.
really? I
Yeah,
love
I
it.
think everybody had a phase. They were either into those Scooby bands or something like that.
Yeah.
Or they were into knitting, one of the
See?
two.
And that was also because we, hopped on the trends.
Exactly.
Like remember those bands?
That's
that used
what
to
I'm saying.
happen? Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
So those kind of things.
Even pottery, like I think in this time, like when we come back from uni, so many of my friends always make a plan, okay, let's go and just paint pottery or something.
It's a good
It's
expression.
a good
of-
expression, and it's
yeah.
also just fun.
Yeah.
I think all the handicrafts, especially Rajasthani handicrafts, are just really vibrant and fun to do yourself also. They're not that tough. Yeah.
that touch of fun is very important.
It's very important,
like,
for sure.
you know, when you see something, you should have that excitement or something like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
that's what we like. Our main aim is that when someone sees this, obviously the causes are there. Obviously the design looks very beautiful, but it should be fun, something new.
Yeah.
And that requires, I would tell you, like the most effort requires in creating something new and something that relates to people.
For
So
sure.
it's the emotions I'm tapping. It's something unique and new thing that I've just seen. And obviously, like in terms of business wise, like you need that kind of, you know, inventory, you need that kind of reach, you need that kind of confidence that what you've made will look good.
Right.
You need everything, balance of that.
Yeah.
So it's fun to do all
It's
that.
fun, yeah.
Like I don't care about the end result. And generally also, like again, my spiritual side is coming out. But like you shouldn't, you know, obviously we're privileged and I can say it from a very
Yeah,
privileged background
of
that I've come
course.
from. Like you shouldn't care so much about the end result, especially in designing. Like how designing, if you put your brain and your heart when you're designing something, it'll not be the best kind of designer coming. You have to do it from your heart first.
Yeah.
Then your brain will make you trust it that, you know, this is something I'll go in the market and it'll be perceived well.
It's like cooking. Like if you cook with your heart, you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The emotions come out.
They come out, yeah. And now pivoting a little bit from our conversation about your brand, I really want to talk about you also. And so tell me, like, how is high school for you? Because last time I spoke to you, you mentioned you went to a CBSE school.
I did.
I want to know how that was.
It was a total different world. After like when you, of course, when you compare, you know what you've been through and what.
Yeah, huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean CBSE was good.
Okay.
To be honest, like, you know, it's proper textbook to your mind and then you're just putting
Yeah.
it out and then you're forgetting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just put it in simple words. It's just ratta for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all ratta. But like, I feel, again, the simplistic part is what I like about things. Like, I'm generally a very genuine and simple person, you would say. Like,
Yeah.
like, you know, it's all in the heart or it's something, if it's out there, just say it or do it. So those kind of things were there. So in CBSE also, I felt like, you know, very straight to the point. कि ये तुम्हारा syllabus है, course है, do it, like read it. You
Yeah.
have to pass marks and get away. And then you go to college and then you experience life.
I agree.
Then you're literally thrown in the new world, like figure out, like either swim or drown.
Drowned, I agree. I actually did CBSE until 9th grade. And then I switched
Good, yeah.
to IGCSE for 1 year and then did IB, 11th, 12th. And that
So
1 year,
you've seen all kinds of
I've seen all kinds. And
So
I can,
what would your be like the pick?
I think I got out very easy, specifically because up until 9th, I had the blast. Like, I had such a great time at my high school. Like, it was amazing. People used to do whatever they wanted to do. It was extremely rugged, really raw. You're playing in the mud and like very raw.
Protected environment.
And nobody cared where you're coming from. It's a very natural environment.
Yeah, very simple.
Very simple, exactly. Very simple, very nice, very wholesome. And then I went to IGCSE where people are very posh, people are talking in English. I didn't know how to speak English properly. It was just like you're thrown out there. And I was never good at public speaking. I was so shy.
Look at you.
See, look at both of us. Honestly, very shy. I think IGCSE and IB taught me a lot about public speaking and also putting myself out there, a way to present things. Because CBSE is really good for academic background, like the base is very strong. But IB really taught me how to put it out,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, the case studies that you would study in CBSE, you were literally experiencing it in IB, if you say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good, you know, like a good trailer of the real life that are going to be stepping in after school.
Yeah.
It's a good trailer of that. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like they really make sure that you should know what is happening.
Yeah. And it's a good transition to get into college if you want to study abroad.
Right.
Because the base is pretty similar to what you're going to do in college.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's been quite interesting, the journey.
But how, like, have you always been like a, you know, like your right side of the brain is as equal as left side. Do you know about this?
No.
So I'm not sure if it's left or right. So when you meet a person,
Okay.
it's either their left side of brain is very developed
Okay.
or their right side of brain. So
And
the
how
left
do you
side,
tell?
left side is for the creative part.
Okay.
So it can never be like both the sides of the brain
Right.
can be developed. So either your left side brain is more
Hmm.
active or the right side. The right side are the ones who are all about numbers, maths,
Okay.
calculative,
Hmm.
and then the left side is one all about creativity and those kind of things.
Okay, that is very complicated, I think, for me, because I danced, like I did ballet for almost all my life.
Oh wow!
And now I'm doing this. And I used to love to paint also.
Oh really?
But then I also love finance, which is what I'm studying. So I think it's a battle between the two. But if I really have to choose, I would say left side. Creative
side,
for sure.
yeah.
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 I would say the same, I think, about you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have grown up in a finance background.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, growing up, like everyone would see my brothers scoring like 100 out of 100 in maths and everything, and I would be, like I would pass with my decent marks, but then I would go into my lot of activities that I do. Like I was in sports and designing. Like I would sit and observe things and those kind of things. So like growing up, like the whole family would like, Yash, like my brothers, they were like, he'll do wonders in business. Like they just tell my dad, your succession
Yeah.
line is perfect and everything. And then they would look at me like, she will do something even more different than you. Like this is what they were
Huh.
saying. But like for him, it was like obviously
They
he has to
know,
go into the
huh.
line and he'll do well.
Yeah.
So they were never excited about that. They were like, this girl will come up with something new. And that'll be like really interesting.
But
so you
that's
wanna
so
see.
nice.
That's so nice.
I think you got out easy. What if your brother was also not interested? Then it would have been like, oh, which one is picking the family business up?
That's true.
That would have been tough.
True.
Yeah.
But it was an easy call and start. Like this one is never gonna do.
Thank
But I
God.
kind of connected to the family business,
You did?
So when I came back from Milan, I wanted a break and I wanted to
Right.
know the basics of business, which my family business is very sure. And luckily, my family business is also very rural based.
Okay.
So we have like more than 40, 45 branches all over rural areas.
Actually,
in
I was
India.
talking to your mom about this
Yeah.
recently while you were out, and she was telling me about your company. They
Yeah.
have NBFCs, right?
Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
a finance company and we
Yeah.
finance to the rural parts of India.
Yeah.
So, and growing up again, that I'm seeing like my
Hmm.
father in some way or another, like basically you're providing finance, you're
Yeah.
providing them money to support them in, in their business, to get a new vehicle for their own business. So it's kind of the same thing that I'm
Yeah.
also doing. But I've always related to the, woman of India because that kind of market, because obviously if you look at logic, people would be like, go for a man, he will work hard, he will provide you the income that is there.
It's, I think, just different societal construct. Like women are supposed to manage the house, and then the guy goes out and works and earns a living.
Yeah.
But also, like, I think what you're mentioning about wanting to work for yourself, that is not embedded in the culture, I think. Because I can name some countries where it's a very individualistic mindset. They will work for themselves, make a earning, and it has nothing to do with their families at all.
With the families or the gender or anything.
Anything at all. But coming back to the societal construct, even if we're talking about rural women, I think I understand to a certain degree that, okay, they're probably not given those same opportunities, or there's some financial construct why they're not able to work, and you're uplifting them. Have you ever felt like, even though we're modern, living in a big city, have the opportunities, there's still a certain amount of societal pressure when it comes to women, especially I think when you cross a certain age? And I'm talking about in terms of, okay, now you have your business, now you've settled everything. Okay, now when are you getting married? Like, is it there for you?
I mean, I kind of understand their perspective as well.
Yeah.
Like, not just for girls, I see even the guys these days, like the family says now you settle in work. Like it's always like one task after another.
Huh.
Like you complete good education, then you settle in work, and then you marry. Because
Yeah.
I think it's very practical to say, like I'm not, like obviously for the woman, like again, we're talking from a very privileged point of view.
Exactly, I'm talking-
For the
yeah.
rural woman, if you talk about, it's all like, I'll tell you about the project we've started, and specifically for this, like there was this one area, this rural area, it's near Bishangarh. There are 2 schools where we're supporting, and it's all girls school. And the girls there, from like the drop rate of the
Right.
girls from school starts from 11th standard and by 12th standard, like before they graduate,
Okay.
they have dropped because they've turned 18,
Yeah.
like the legal marriage age. They drop out and, they're married and then the education just left off.
Okay.
Yeah. So they feel like the family feels that they're progressive in a way that they've kept the girls in school.
Until 11th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and even if you meet the families, like I've met the families, they say, ki, it's good now that she's going and like they are free from her, like she's busy, she's occupied, and then by the time she's 18, they get her off, or as soon as she's completed school, she's married into, and even the girls that have accepted the fate, like
Yeah.
they feel lucky, like from our point of view, privilege is like, we get the chance to build our own career and then everything. They feel lucky they got the chance to be in a school, learn about things,
Right.
and then their destiny is to get married into a good house and just provide for the family,
Yeah.
because that's what they've seen.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what they've seen.
So our project now, what we're doing those two particular school is, we've started a course in the school itself. Like our whole model is we train these rural women artisans, and we train them in a lot of things, and then eventually they're making products that we can sell off at our social media platform and socially and physically everything.
Right.
So we have tapped these 11th, 12th class girls,
Yeah.
and we have started classes where they're starting these skill training.
Okay.
So it's not in our hands, to be honest. We cannot go to each and everyone's house and tell them ki aap mat nikalo, aap ye karo, wo karo. Our part is that they get the exposure that they want, and end of it, it's in their hands.
True.
So the training that they're getting in their last 2 years of school, those are basic stitching, knitting in very professional way. And we teach them to make these products that they can sell later from their home.
Okay.
Like right now also from our skill center, every 3 months, the rotation happens. There are women who are coming who wants to learn. And then obviously after that, they have to decide, or if they want to earn, then they have to dedicate that specific time to make these things and then, get that earning. So it's like a difficult decision.
Yeah.
They just start with learning and then they decide. So even if they're not able to decide, like no matter what circumstances, because I also respect the women because they've seen that and they also personally feel like the family comes forward, they have to support for them. So we give them those kind of trainings that they can work from home and they can make those products and we can sell it for them. And, they're getting the earning while sitting at.
Okay. So it's like very convenient and flexible
Right.
based
It's not
on.
like, in office culture, they have to come and
Huh.
everything. Even the centers that we've made is very near to the house. So we go to the
Okay.
rural clusters. We make a center there where it's accessible for them because we kind of got to know the causes why like the women are not able to work or why they're not able to get out of the house. Because travel,
Yeah.
security,
Yeah. And if they're raising kids, then that.
right?
Yeah.
And then they can dedicate only 3 to 4 hours.
Makes
time.
sense. Yeah.
But those 3 to 4 hours also can be very impactful if
Of
they can
course.
just dedicate towards that.
Yeah.
So the centers are very near to them, so they walk towards there and they love it. I'll take you to the centers.
Yeah.
They have found their own community of women. Like, what we crave. Like, end of it, like, we can sit with a bunch of ladies and talk about life and
Yeah.
share our things while they're also working.
Hmm.
And, it's kind of therapeutic also. Like, if you're
Yeah.
knitting or those kind of things, why our grandmothers used to do that.
Exactly.
It was so nice.
Yeah.
Like, even for us, it's so nice.
Because all of this turns into a social circle after a point,
Right.
It's
Like
really good.
how the workshop trends have started in the
Huh.
cities. This is for that only. Like,
Huh.
how people kind of come together and have fun. So those kind of things. So they found their own community and it's so nice for them to see. Like, obviously you can't just like we aim to do an impact in their lives, how they feel that they're empowered, that they're making something that they have made has impacted someone else. And end of it, they find a community where they can feel like they're as one as together, where they can share their sorrows, their happiness, and also creating something nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's not work then after a point. It's like you have a community, you have skills to do something and earn a living also
That
side
is
by
the goal,
side.
right?
It's the goal.
That's
exactly.
the goal for Goal also. It's
Yeah.
basically a platform or a community, you can
Huh.
say. Like we call our studio our sanctuary. Like it's a sanctuary for our women,
Huh.
the design products, my team. We
Yeah.
all feel like we're working towards something impactful.
That's really cool.
but also like very connected to each other. Yeah.
I actually also recently saw that you partnered with Laneige,
Yeah.
which was a really cool thing because it's not been that long that Gul's been online.
Yeah.
And within 2 years, partnering with a huge brand like that, I think it's commendable.
Yeah.
And how was that journey? Like, how did you really, did you go reach out to them or did they reach out to you? Because I think people who are starting off would want to know how to do things like
Yeah,
that.
right.
Yeah.
No, even I had no clue. Like, of course, the main aim was like for us to for us to create a platform for girls was like
Right.
to reach out as many people as possible.
Right.
So when Lanesh approached us, it was very genuine. Like they were the ones who approached us, and they really liked what they were doing. And I like, of course, we would love to collaborate with brands. We would love to get business for a woman. But for me, like how you start off and how you build like create that legacy of how we do these kind of collaborations, what kind of brands we resonate with, what kind of influencers we would want who really appreciate the cause and kind of correlates to the things that we're
Yeah.
doing. So I was very specific since start. Like we've been approached with a lot of brands, but it's just like someone who actually puts the platform that we made for the woman first, then the product.
Then the product,
Yeah.
of course.
I mean, I would say our USP is the design as much as the causes we're doing.
Yeah.
Because that's the main goal, right? So they were intrigued with both the things and they said, "Hey, listen, we want our new product launch is happening. It's very huge. We want a part of goal, something that the women have made, something's very pretty." So they luckily the product range was based on peonies and they saw a product and were like, we would love to have
Yeah.
something like that. So it was just another, to be honest, like a brand approaching
Huh.
us. But then they resonated, and it was just from them coming. They resonated why we made these flowers, how they've made the whole story behind it. And they said, we want to put that kind of thing in our hamper. So if you see our hamper, like when you open the box, you see a whole note about, these are the women who have made it.
Oh, wow.
This is the story. And then you go back, the brand ambassador was, I think, Sydney.
Okay.
Sydney was the
Right,
brand
Sydney
ambassador.
Sweeney, yeah.
And when I see, like, I want to take something that is made out of Jaipur, something that is made out of the rural women artisans to a global world. So it was really nice to see Sydney and like our women on the same
on
page.
the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
I saw the packaging and it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
I think the color, everything, it just resonates with gold
Right.
on a very larger scale.
Yeah. And through that, now, like, a lot of brands are
Right.
approaching us in the same mind space. Like, obviously, they really like a product and something, like, it's flowers, man. Like, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and it's
Like,
also
who-
so good for packaging as a whole. Like,
Yeah.
they keep doing all of these campaigns, but
Right.
I love the fact that you're really picking on which brands you want to collaborate with.
Right.
Because a lot of the times when you get a certain amount of success, you kind of wither from your idea of what you were beginning the whole company based on. I think it's really good that it's
Yeah,
still
those
intact.
foundations are very important.
Very important.
Like, trust me, it's so hard and so tough to
Yeah.
make these kind of, because you're a startup, you want to make business also.
Yeah.
You want, obviously, like, I work so hard so that the money goes to the women artisans, my team who's worked so hard on the designing part. So making such crucial calls, like, should I think of everything in a commercial way or should I actually stick to my foundation for few initial years? So then, I attract the right kind of audience, I attract the right kind of brands. So these are all crucial calls, and it's very interesting to learn all these
I
things.
think so too, yeah. I think also this is very Gen Z of you.
Yeah.
For sure. Because older generations didn't care so much about these things.
How?
And now I think people are very, very attached and passionate about social causes, sustainability, all of this. It's a very Gen Z concept.
To be honest, I think you're also a Gen Z, right?
Right, yeah.
You don't give me Gen Z vibes.
I
at all.
don't.
Like, I think you're too mature for your age.
Oh my God. I think I'll take that as a compliment, even though I'm doing a Gen Z podcast.
Like, right when you said that's so Gen Z of you, like, I didn't relate to you. I thought you're saying this community of Gen Zs.
And I'm not a part of it.
Yeah, you're not a part of this clan that is there. Yeah.
But now that we're done with this, we are going to do a quick segment. It's called Out With It in 5 seconds.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you questions and you just have to answer them in 5 seconds, whatever comes to your mind.
Is this coffee with Karan?
Kind of. Just like
Gen
a
Z version.
Gen Z version of Coffee with Karan, yes.
Coffee with, yeah. Oh, KK.
KK.
KWK.
See? Perfect. Okay. So,
I think on this note, we should light up the coffee.
okay, yeah, please do the honors.
So this is our newly launched collection. It's a coffee candle.
Oh, so it smells like coffee?
It smells like iced latte.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. and coffee maniacs like us.
Yeah.
It's really good for gifting.
I
So
think that's amazing. I'm gonna steal one on the way out.
yeah. This is for the Gen Zs, and then for the millennials like us, there are
You're
giant
also
candles.
Gen Z. What are you saying?
I'm 99 born.
You're still Gen Z.
I'm on the brink. Like I'm on the middle.
No, you're 25, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so till 27, it's Gen Z.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm on Gen Z. That's a new learning. I was feeling very old because
Why
I'm
would I
told.
do a podcast with you if you weren't Gen Z?
Oh, your whole
Yeah, my whole thing is only Gen
Guys,
Z
cut
people.
it.
No, this is gonna stay. This has to stay.
Bro, I don't want to be associated with Gen Z. I don't relate to them at all.
You just said you don't relate to me, but you relate to Gen Z.
I relate to you. That's what I'm saying. You're also not a Gen Z.
Okay, I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
And we're here dissing on
We're-
Gen Z people.
The pretentious millennials right now. Let's change the whole concept of the podcast.
Yeah, it's just Gen Z who think they're millennials.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Millennials by heart. Because we
Millennials by
went to
heart.
CBSE.
That's why. We've learned life the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, coming to the first question.
Yeah.
You look so stressed.
Yeah, man. 5 seconds.
No, it's very simple questions. Okay. What's the next brand you want to collaborate with?
So I can't reveal this right now.
Right,
But
yeah.
I have back to
Okay.
brands that I always wanted to collaborate with the coming
Wow.
Diwali.
Oh wow, okay.
But one brand that I'm really looking forward to, and that's like something like, the manifestation book
Manifestation.
or diary one
Yeah.
has, it's Good Earth.
Okay, good earth.
Because I relate a lot to them.
Right.
Like, it was one of my inspiration when I started Gul.
Oh.
Because they're very connected to nature, they're very sustainable, they're designing, the upliftment of artisans, and if you see their brand story, the way they portray them, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. I love their products also.
Yeah.
Really nice. Okay. The second question is, what is the best rural artisanal technique according to you that you have incorporated in Gul? Like, what's your favorite?
that I haven't incorporated or I have incorporated.
You
and I find
have.
It's my personal favorite.
It could be either, like you have or you haven't.
I think it's knitting.
Knitting?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say that knitting is like, because I'll tell you why it's the most unique thing for me, because it's the most basic thing.
Right.
So when you say, like, it connects everything that I work on. Like, I've personally seen my grandmother work on knitting my entire life. And when I went to the women, there's this, obviously you get scared. Like, these women don't know anything. They
Yeah.
want to work, they want to get earning out of it. So I started with the most basic handmade technique
Yeah.
that they've seen all the life. Like, stitching ke liye bhi you need those equipments, you need that machine. Knitting, you just need that needle, you need a yarn, and you can knit.
Yeah.
And
Very true.
the scope and the versatility of everything is huge. So I feel unique, and it's also our star product,
Yeah.
like the stars. I want to expand it like anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really
And
cool.
obviously in this, I'll face a lot of these things, because knitting is obviously not anyone can do. So like our flowers right now, you would see.
I was going to say actually,
Yeah.
because today only before I came for the podcast,
Yeah.
I saw 2 companies on my Explore, because I've been like looking at Gul so much.
Yeah.
2 on my Explore that do exactly the same
Yeah.
products as you do. But which is why I was telling you, your narrative is so strong
Right.
that even though they're the same products, and I can still tell that, okay, this is Gul, this is not.
Right.
It's very out there.
So it's also like very exciting, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like somebody's counterfeiting your goods, you made it. Like actually.
Yeah. So knitting would be my personal.
Okay. This is a personal question. So, since I think we're all Gen Z, there's high stress situations all the time. What's your first instinct to dealing with it? It could be personal life stress, it could be work related, any type of stress.
So I'll give you a real life example of today. Like, I've never been in front of camera, and like I've been on photographs. I love photographs. I
Yeah.
love people clicking my photographs. But like talking heart to heart about things that I've always spoken about. Like if we meet off camera, we would be talking about the same things. It's just
Yeah.
like, a camera's there capturing everything. I don't know what I'll say. I don't know what is gonna happen. And but I feel like, it was needed, like, to come on camera and talk about things so that people can also relate to. So those kind of things. And really appreciated when you approached to me. I was like, this God has only sent me, because I was not going to do it on my own. So you came along. So I was a little nervous. Like, we were taking very casual, because
Huh.
I know you and we were talking. And for
Exactly.
you also, it's all new. So it was like, we're on the same page. So it was nice. But today when I woke up, I was like, oh God, it's happening.
Finally.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, like, I didn't want to think much about it. And
Makes
that is the
sense.
kind of approach you have to take. Like,
Hmm.
you just have to go with the flow. You have to keep doing things. You have to make mistakes and you learn from it. And even if this podcast turns out very bad and everything, at least you tried.
Don't say that.
At least you tried. Like, I might say something very scandalous and then, like our CBSE
would-
schools are coming on to us. Ki, bro,
I would
what are you
much rather
saying?
take hate comments at this point than it being a flop.
No, I don't think it's going to be a flop.
Okay.
You're very natural. So see, it's working out.
It's working
It's
out.
just you shouldn't think too much. Just go
Yeah.
and do it. And like from my experience, like when I started going, I just started with the name.
Yeah.
After a year of working with my foundation, with my family business, learning everything about HR, admin, everything, like every sales stuff, I was like, this is the name that I want to go because I relate to the flowers, I relate to the women. Let's see what happens.
I think that's perfect. You need to just start with the first step.
Yeah. And as a domino, just one after thing and
Huh.
everything came. So
Yeah.
one tip I would give to every person who's starting their own thing, like if either it's a podcast or
Yeah.
a brand, come up with a name. With a name that you feel like will bind everything together.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even like in the business world, I've heard this. Like my dad says, when you're starting project, give it a name first and then start whatever you
Yeah.
want to do.
Because it becomes real, I think. Like once you have a name to it, you know that that thing is tangible. It's real. It's not just in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. If you could go back in time and change one thing in your journey, what would it be?
Bro, my journey is just started.
I know, but like from school till now, like
Oh.
anything, it doesn't have to be with gold. It could be anything.
I feel more exposure out of school
Hmm.
would have been better. That in the CBSE, I feel like, and I was always like a sports child.
Yeah.
So I felt like my passion, and especially in my school, sports was a big thing. So I used to, like, morning, evening, I used to go for my games. I used to play basketball. And education, education was like something that you have to tick off. Like, you have to get good marks and just get done with it.
Yeah.
So in terms of exploring materials and not even just like a class, like how you have those extracurriculum classes where
Yeah.
you go and then like fine arts or something, you're
Huh.
painting and everything. That doesn't calls you.
It doesn't.
Yeah. Unless you're going to the field, having real
Yeah.
face-to-face experiences, that really shapes you.
I agree.
That I kind of found out like in my college years.
Okay.
So if in school it would have started.
Yeah.
Like I would have started thinking more about.
But I don't remember which year you graduated, but till the time I was in your same school, till 9th grade, I do remember having that, what was it called? PWC or something like that.
Something like that,
Something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
they had all of these really random things like carpentry
Yeah.
and glue pottery,
Yeah.
paper making,
Yeah.
and all of that. I used to love that. I used to do
love
all
that.
those paper mache things and stuff. And
I used to
yeah.
bunk those and go to Liverpool.
Sports.
And sports, yeah. That's good only. Like in
Yeah.
sports also I learned a lot, to be
But
honest.
this is also what I mean by CBSE. They had such interesting things,
Things.
which they're very local, I think,
Yeah.
to like Rajasthan. Like all of these things
Very
were
rooted,
like
yeah.
very rooted. Yeah, amazing things.
That's true.
The last question: if you weren't involved in women empowerment and you had to pick a social issue that you're really passionate about, what else would you want? Maybe a part of GUL, or even if not GUL, separately from this.
Mm-hmm. So this is something I've incorporated in GUL as well, which
Okay.
is about the environment.
Hmm.
Like when I make my products, the women are making it, and I've seen their also lifestyle, how they gather, as I told you, the materials from the nature itself, and they make those things. Because I feel nature is something that we really should protect. Like, how the climate change is happening, how we're going to, like, how Jaipur used to never feel like a metropolitan city, and now it started like that.
Yeah.
So, like, other than that, if you say a social cause I would pick up is, work in the nature field, of course.
Okay.
Because, and animals.
Okay.
Like, I have a lot of things, but animals also, I work
Yeah.
a lot because
Okay.
I have my own pet.
Okay.
Her name
What
is-
do you have?
Her name is Taxi. She's a golden retriever.
Oh, how
It
sweet.
was a gift.
Okay.
But also, like, in my colony, there are, like, bunch of street dogs.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying for the sake of covering everything,
No,
but
no.
I've grown up with those street dogs, and they play with Taxi every day. My dog's name is Taxi.
Why is your dog's name Taxi?
So her, like, we spell it as TAKSI.
Okay.
It's a very controversial topic. And its literal meaning is to appraise.
Okay.
So that connects maybe, but it's just like a fun word.
Okay.
I was like, I want to name her taxi. So
That's cute.
like we call her tacos. Like
Huh.
yeah.
Okay. I have 5 dogs at home, so I
Really?
completely relate to your
Okay.
animal cause thing. Totally.
What breeds you have?
So I have 2 Shih Tzus.
Okay.
One of them is a pure breed. The other one, I don't know what he is, but it's kind of Shih Tzu only.
Yeah.
The third one is a Pomeranian, and then I have one Pakistani bully,
Oh,
and then I have a pug.
I've never heard this Pakistani.
Yeah, he looks like a street dog, but is not.
Mm.
He's like fully black in color and this big. Yeah. And all of them are named after food.
Yeah, I was just noticing that.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, so it'll be definitely environment and animals.
Okay.
Just like I feel like right now I'm working on the cause of empowering humans like women. I also feel like same likewise. So environment also needs that kind of awareness and attention, and so does that.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah. Again, it's all about going back to basics and like living a simple life. Like in rural areas, what do you see? The humans are living very simply. The animals are always
It's
around.
like coexisting.
Yeah, and the environment is also there. They're not really, destroying environment to build their own houses, like multi-luxury apartments and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And same as the animals, they're also coexisting very happily. So I feel like that simple life approach is really good.
That's true. So, before we wrap everything up, I want quickly for you to write down a catchphrase for your journey. And this is because by the 5th or the 10th episode, I haven't decided yet, but we're going to do like a live installation, like a digital installation. So, write a catchphrase for your journey and then sign it.
Will it be like, would you be rewriting this thing I say, or will it be like a screenshot of what I write?
It'll be a screenshot of what you
So
write.
I have to be careful how I write it. I think, I would say like when I was making the whole brand identity of Gul, even the designer I worked with, she was shocked. Like I was so clear what I want because I've been researching a lot and everything. So till now, like when you start a business, you feel like, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now. I'll make that brand, and then later, as how the brand unfolds, I'll keep updating it. But for me, I think it was so personal to me, and I just knew it that this is what I wanted, and I want to take it forward as a legacy for another 50 years. So when I made that brand identity, I came up with this line with my designer. It was like, from her to you.
Okay.
It's very basic.
But that's so sweet. That literally sums up everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It sums up about me as a person. Like it's from me. Her means me. Her means you. Her means the receiving person. Her means the woman artisan they have made. Her means like literally everything. And to you. And by to you, it means that, for us gifting, why I have taken as a profession gifting, whatever we make in this world, end of it, we want to share it with someone.
Right.
Like if I'm making these designs, I find them so pretty. I feel like I don't want to give it to someone. I'm going to take it home. But in the end, when you share that with someone else and you share that thought with someone else, it just makes, this is what
it
about,
multiplies.
Like sharing, it multiplies.
Yeah.
Why would you not want to share something nice?
I agree.
So this is my line, like from her to you.
That's so sweet.
Can I
you can
put a symbol also?
Yes, you can put whatever.
So I'm putting a leaf.
Perfect.
So I'll tell you. Should I show it in the camera?
Yeah, you can show it in the camera.
It's very rough. So it's from Hotyu with this leaf. Looks like a mustache. So if it's in green, then it'll look like a leaf. So our logo of Gul is a rose.
Okay.
And then below the rose is this leaf.
Okay, it's a leaf.
So whatever we write, we put a leaf in it. And then so this is what is Gul. Like from Hotyu is the rose. The logo is the rose.
Rose, yeah.
Then you put the woman also over the leaf. And this leaf basically means to grow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's
like
very
how
sweet.
a rose grows.
Grows, yeah.
Above the leaf. And then this leaf also kind of defines, like how in a rose you'll find thorns.
Thorns.
So everyone has had that journey where they face thorns.
Yeah.
And that's how that's how they grow.
Right.
And then they bloom into a rose.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's perfect. I think that's a perfect note to even end on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
And before we end, I have a little gift for you.
Okay.
I hope you like it. You can open it later.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So sweet of you.
Thank you so much for joining me for this conversation.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching and tuning in. And I will catch you at the next episode.